everyone. My name is Chrissy Smith, and this is Nine Lives Energy, where together we energize your body from the inside out. Thank you so much for being here today. We are starting this new astrological series called Jupiter in Cancer, and I just got finished experiencing what a Jupiter in Gemini felt like as I experienced my Jupiter return. And Jupiter doesn't really like to be in Gemini too much. He is exalted in Cancer. Every planet has its favorite sign, its fall sign, and its detriment sign. But even though Jupiter was in detriment and Gemini, didn't mean that, nobody got any blessings who was a Gemini, or anybody didn't get any blessings who was having a Jupiter return. But for me, this crossed over my 11th house of friendships, service to humanity, the future, astrology. And so, with that being said, I was able to get expansion in all of those things, along with things that were ruled by Gemini, such as communication. One of the things that I feel like I learned the most last year is how I could be a better communicator, to slow down, to listen to what somebody else has to say before interjecting with some type of solution that maybe that does not serve that person, that they didn't come up with themselves. Another thing that I had was a lot of realizations and clarity just about a lot of things. Had some closures with, some people that had left my life in the past 12 years ago. And so being able to heal that before Jupiter went into Cancer. I also got some windfalls of money, got some opportunities to share astrology with other people and to get paid for something that I love to do. I had somebody pay me back money that they owed me from 2014. Wow. So that was almost 12 years ago. So I start seeing some of these, things. Another thing, probably the most beneficial to me, was to meet my astrology teacher. And I met her in September of last year during the eclipse portal that we had. And then I also met her during the summer solstice, whenever the sun goes into Cancer. So without further ado, speaking of Cancer and how Jupiter has affected me, we have our Cancerian practitioner, Deborah Robinson, who I met on my journey a while back when I was all into saving America and running for state house. And when I met her, she said something profound when I knocked on her door to get a signature. And I always wanted to have another encounter with her. And shortly after that, I was able to meet her at an event. And we started doing this astrology thing called Woo's Days a couple of years ago. But sometimes I think we need to take a step back. We have all these aspirations and we want to go. Aries wants to go and not think about all these other things that we have to do behind the scenes. And sometimes it's good to maybe plant those seeds and revisit them at another time. So, Deborah Robinson, how have you been, my dear friend?
Well, when I say I am good and I am getting better, that's how I'm doing.
Awesome. Tell me about this Jupiter in Cancer that you are experiencing right now. When I think about Cancerian season, I think about you because you are the person I think whose birth chart I recognized first. And I was like, oh, she's a Cancer. And then I realized my late husband was also a Cancer as well. So tell me a little bit about how this Jupiter has been treating you, or since the sun, moved into your sign.
Okay, well, of course, we know that the Cancer and the moon and the sun and all of this plays an important role. Everything and everybody has its part to play. Being that my sun sign is in Cancer, I just actually had a birthday on the 17th and I turned 68 years and I feel great. It's just a magical time. I consider it a magical time because of the many things that I am learning and putting into practice, and it's just showing itself in such a greater ways. And so When it comes to Jupiter being in Cancer, I was so excited about it. I was like, okay, well, let me see what's going to happen, because before learning astrology, I paid none of these things attention. Didn't know to pay them attention because we were taught from a very religious perspective that, you know, there was witchcraft and stay away from it. But it's got hidden knowledge in it, hidden knowledge that has truly helped me to have a better life, to have grander living. So when you talk about Jupiter being in anything, definitely, as you already said, it is the planet of expansion. So expanding what? What is this expanding? And when you look at Cancer, Cancer is all about the home. And it is definitely about real estate, it's about property, it's about nurturing, and it's ruled by the moon. And the moon is all about our emotional health. And you're talking about emotional growth. Definitely, that's what I'm experiencing. And so when I look at the pictures of how the other planets are playing a major role as to what's happening in my life individually and collectively, boy, when I say it's on, it's on. Because right now we've got, as far as Aries is concerned, we've got Saturn in there and we have Neptune. And right now they're actually squaring Jupiter in Cancer. So that just simply means that they are 90 degrees apart in astrology signs. And when it comes to what's called a square, that's challenges. And so it's like when you look at Neptune and when you look at Saturn and what those things mean, and Neptune is definitely the ruling planet for Pisces, and Saturn is the ruling planet for Capricorn, which is the opposite of Cancer. And so, with Cancer being illuminated right now, Capricorn is sort of in the background. But however, Saturn is one of the planets at the beginning of the year, those outward planets that are going very slow, that are generational and playing a major role for us all. So it's in retrograde. Neptune is in retrograde. Oh my goodness. And here we are at this particular day. Yesterday was a new moon. That's exciting in the most creative sign, Leo, the fire of us all. And so that's pretty exciting. And it's like, well, what do we do with all this stuff? So Neptune is all about illusions and delusions. And at the same time, it is our spiritual eye.
Mhm.
So it is the light and the darkness having this tandem of agreement to say that we're not competing against each other anymore, but we're coming together and we're working together. So when it comes to Neptune being in retrograde and Saturn is our teacher, it's our wisdom, it's Father Time, it's rules, it's boundaries, it rules government, all these things. And it's like, how does that add up to my life? So when I look at, you know, what's going on in my family life right now, very challenging things. We've got family members that are doing things that are just out of control. And so it's like, what do we do with that? And so the beautiful part about looking at this is like, there's a relief that will be coming. And this is when Neptune and Saturn are going to transgress back into Pisces. And at that time, when they do, they're going to actually be making a trine to Jupiter. So all this stressful energy that's there, when you also look at Neptune and Pisces, there's a lot of escapism.
Mhm.
And so you have to ask yourself, how are you escaping? How am I escaping? What am I using? And I'm seeing it firsthand in the family union. But at the same time, because I know what's happening, I have the ability as much as I can every day to walk in the park. And I've been taking some videos and putting them in the family chat and let the family see what's going on at the park. And this park, it just has this grove of trees, even in the midst of all this heat, because this is some heat. It truly is hot. Our earth has heated up because of people misusing. And so Cancer is a water sign. It is all about the emotions. So at this particular time, this stressful time, what I'm doing is grounding and enjoy grounding. Oh my goodness, enjoy grounding. I've had situations where I didn't expect them, and that's all day Uranus. Surprise, surprise. And but being able to accept all these challenging things that are forthcoming and that have come is giving me the opportunity to practice my Leo self, my courage, my confidence, and applying it in day to day. And like Chrissy referred to, being of service, still having the ability to do that, because that's a very high calling. And believe it or not, that's where Mars is in Virgo at this particular time. And it is squaring all these beautiful aspects when it comes to the Uranus. And it's like, this is just so powerful. Knowing how to use all this energy, Christy, is the main thing, because everything is energy. And astrology teaches us about those energies so that we can continue to keep our neurological systems in our best health. Because again, with Mars being in Virgo, Virgo is the house of health. So we've been hearing about the different things that are going on in the collective. And so we, again, are being mindful of taking care of our bodies. You were talking about what happened with you when Jupiter was in Gemini. Gemini is my 12th house. And the 12th house is definitely representation of Pisces. It rules the feet. It's about endings. It's our sleep. And so I don't have a problem sleeping. Every now and then, something will ruffle my feathers that I will get into a loop. But then I have to go back to my true self and knowing, working from within to be able to deal with these challenges that come, to bring them to a peaceful state. And that's what Cancer is about, being at peace. And when it comes to the collective, how is it affecting our homeland? And definitely it is affecting our homeland. One thing is about Jupiter too, is about beliefs. So we're really disrobing a lot of things that we were indoctrinated by. We're disrobing and we're putting on those things that are really true and those things that are advantageous to us, because we want to be able to partake in this creative energy that's upon us in this Leo season, because Leo is definitely the most creative sign. And this morning when I was walking, I got this drift about, it's fun too, because it's just childlike and it's from the heart. Oh my goodness, it is from the heart. And so when it comes to fun, this is the time when we can have divine fun. We can enjoy our pleasure, because there's nothing wrong with pleasure.
I think right now it's causing people to see what is that they really value and what really makes them happy. And there could be a job falling away, or a relationship falling away, or some contract that's ending because you're supposed to be doing something else. And when you speak of Cancer, the United States is a Cancer.
Yeah, definitely.
And so we're gonna be having an expansion of the United States, or our home. So not only is it affecting, and Canada also is a Cancer.
Yeah.
And so both of those countries could be experiencing some type of up leveling. The
Definitely.
Cancer and the moon also rules the people of that country.
Right.
So there could be an expansion of, I feel, of consciousness, or people rising up to do their own individual work and becoming their own spiritual leaders or gurus. As you know, the systems are falling. Some
Yes.
of the thing, and with Chiron being in Aries for so long, I mean, it's asking the collective to look at some of these inner wounds. Why do we show up the way that we do? Why do we have that job that we have? Is it because you are attached to it because you feel like, well, I have to make this money, or I'm not going to have whatever, or I'm going to go along with this situation even though it's not really what I want to do, but that's what people expect of me. So Mars is definitely severing out some of those routines, you know, in people's
Definitely.
lives so
Yeah.
that they can put in more of the creative energies that they want to, like you said, with, um, you know, all this energy in Leo and the new moon in Leo, and living from your heart and not living so much from your ego perspective.
Definitely, because the ego at this particular time, all over the world, is real big. But again, that's what Neptune is playing a major role. Said so that clarity, so that we can see from the clarity
Hmm.
perspective. It is our spiritual eye, and so we are awakening. This is a great awakening time, and when we talk about Jupiter. And it being the ruling planet for Sagittarius, and you're looking at Gemini, and those two opposites, one is what we've learned in our early childhood, and then the other one is moving
Mm,
into maturity, which is the Sagittarius one.
yeah.
And so we are moving into greater awareness when it comes to humanitarianism, and that is the age that we are shifting into. That's the era that we're moving into with Aquarius, because all of this that is happening to us individually and collectively, with Pluto being in Aquarius, we are all transforming. And
Hmm.
my transformation definitely is taking place. I can feel it. Is it comfortable? It goes back to this year being a year 9, and it is a finishing year, and also in the Chinese culture,
Can you
it
explain
is
real quick how you came up with that year 9 for people that don't understand?
absolutely 2025. When you add those numbers together, you get 9.
Okay, and so what does this mean? How many numbers are there for the different years? So obviously there's 1, 2, 3, all the way up to,
To
I
9.
guess, to 9.
And
Okay.
then we start over. Absolutely. So that means that we're ending a cycle, and we're getting ready to move into, just like the card we read before we got started. It's the future. Our future is looking bright. That's
Mm-hmm.
the thing about Jupiter too. Jupiter is the announcement of looking at the bigger picture. Because
Mm-hmm.
if we stay still stuck in what we're looking at, and all of everything that is um, deconstructing for reconstruction. And the same, that's what transformation is all about. It's the death, it's the birth, it's the newness, even with this new moon that happened, and even with us reconnecting. Isn't that perfect timing that we are reconnecting in all of this retrograde energies? We've got 4 planets that are retrograde, and retrograde gives us the opportunity to slow it down and harness the energy, because it's very potent when a planet is in retrograde. Then we have these planets that are pretty much, because the new moon was at 2 degrees. And when I looked at the charts, there's several planets that are at 2 degrees. You got
Right.
Pluto, you got, wait a minute, hold on. You got Neptune, Pluto, and you got the sun that's at 2 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
That's a beautiful thing. Again, that's a Taurus number. That is practicality. That's a slowing things down. That's nature. And it's giving that energy off so that we can slow down. Now, the thing that is important too with Cancer, and for the collective is the families. We can see how
Mhm.
families are being disrupted, how they are really just going through a lot at this time, and it's causing us to be more empathetic. It is causing us to be more compassionate, and it's like we realize that the part that we're doing in our communities are affecting the greater. So
Yeah.
we do have a lot that is going on, but well worth it. And when you talked about the Mars is about action. Aries is about action. And that's what we're doing. We're taking action in our individual lives so that when it comes to the future of the collective, that
Hmm.
these changes that are forthcoming in the Aquarian energy, because it is about freedom. It is about humanitarian. Is it
Yeah.
a long way off? We've got a lot of work to do. We've done a lot of work, but yet we still have more to do for the goodness that is still happening. Goodness is happening in the midst of the evil doings that are happening too. Because
I
when
just
we
think people
spell the
are
word,
waking.
I'm gonna let
People
you
are
go.
waking up
When you
to.
spell the, hold on one second. When you
Yeah. I'm
spell
sorry.
the word, that's okay. When you spell the word live backwards, that's what you have is evil. So when those two things decide to come together, then you have a synergy, a dance of the light and the dark coming together because they put down their weapons
Hmm.
and they dance together, and then there's harmony, and that's where you get the oppositions in astrology, and they are not no longer opposing each other at the warlike thing, that there is coming together, that light and darkness have come together, and then there's peace.
Well, everybody has a shadow side. So
Definitely.
even though Aquarius, where Pluto is for the next 20 years, all of these outer planets are in very early degrees. And so those early degrees, whenever a planet, especially an outer planet, enters a sign, it's going to have its most strength. And now that it's back in retrograde, it's like, well, let's clean up some of these things that maybe we didn't need to have going forward. When Pluto went into Aquarius, that is, the themes are going to be, how are you going to be of service to humanity? And it's going to be hard for you to be of service to humanity if you're being too much of your Aries self, too much of your Mars self, too much of your ego, and not really thinking about, well, I really had this dream. This dream was in your heart for a reason. It wasn't put there for you to, just poo poo on it, or I don't have time for this. And maybe these things are being taken away from people, that they have looked up to for so long, whether it's a religion system or whether it's a celebrity, a belief system. When you talked about Jupiter ruling Sagittarius, in traditional astrology, it rules Pisces.
Right.
And because we can only see Saturn from the Earth's perspective, we can't see Pluto, we can't see Uranus, we can't see Neptune. And so, some of these astrological signs have two planetary rulers. So it's Jupiter can be our beliefs, or Jupiter can be our spirituality. So people taking a look at their spirituality, taking a look at their beliefs, and why do you believe these things? That I'm
Right.
always going to be alone, or I'm always going to have financial difficulties.
Did you pause there?
I didn't. I didn't pause. I'm hearing like a clicking in the background. I don't know
Yeah,
what's
I
going
hear it.
on.
It sounds like static, kind of like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. Let me mute this and then I'll come back.
Okay.
Is that better?
It is.
Okay. Sometimes
Yeah,
I think these things, Mercury in retrograde loves to have fun with me.
it's okay. Mercury in retrograde loves to have fun with us all, but you know
Uh,
what? It is key to communication, and that's what's so beautiful. The communication that we're learning, it's like because astrology, when it comes to Aquarius, and Aquarius does rule astrology, and it is a different language than what we've been indoctrinated with
mm,
and conditioned by. And so, as we are connecting back with nature, which is the seasons, the cycles, and it just has so much hidden knowledge in it. And all you got to do is be willing, because that's the key word for Leo, is willingness. And so when you look at Cancer, Cancer is about I feel. That is its um, dominant word. And then when you look at Aries, Aries is I am. And so I am what? And so with Neptune and Saturn and Chiron being in Aries, and again with them being in the retrograde position of slowing down and being very potent, full of power at this time, it's like, it's, to me, it's like going into the service where you get a buzz haircut, you take off all of your old things and you put on the newness. And for me, I have, this is how I'm taking it personally, that I am stepping into my new self. And my new self is how the Leo energy is about self-love. That's where it starts at, the self-love and falling in love with yourself. Deborah Silverman is where I started my astrological studies. And so she sings this little song, falling in love, falling in love, falling in love with myself. It's a very powerful thing. You look at things different when you do. Your perspective changes. It's just different. You have a lot more tolerance, which I call grace. I count many things to grace now. And at the same time, taking on this Aryan energy, it is confidence. It is taking action. It's very task oriented for the things that we have been dreaming of. So no longer are they just going to be dreams, but the perfect timing is we're encroaching on it. We can see that time is moving very, very fast. That's because we've shifted into quantum time. The old is passing away, and behold, all things are becoming new. So my anticipation as to when Saturn and Neptune, let's see, Neptune will move back into Pisces on 11 on 11 on the 11th month, and then it'll, no, I'm sorry, 10, 22, or 25, that's when it's going to go in there. And then with Saturn, it's going to go in there on September the 1st. So I'm looking forward to when the trine happens, because the trine simply means that signs are 120 degrees apart. And so the trine represents harmonizing energy. So I'm looking for the more momentum in those October and September times when Jupiter can really be exalted in Cancer, and that the shifting for families, my individual family, because my ascendant is Cancer as well. So I'm Cancer. So all these feelings, being mindful and not them just being detriment to the emotions. And the emotions is doubt, worry, fear, all those things, So, but at the same time, grasping the dreams and putting actions to them. And like Mars being in Virgo, yeah, it's the planet of war, definitely. It's the planet of aggression, it's anger, it's all those things. It's even the volume of the self-critic is turned up in Virgo. But Virgo is that analytical side of us, very task oriented. What are we doing daily, day to day? Like when you talk about what are your habits? What are you doing? And so this is like changing the action, giving us that more vitality, that more action oriented, that more tasking on getting it done, because we do have to become creative, because our work world is changing. And so our creative abilities, our skills, and our talents are coming forth. And guess what? They are more community oriented again, because our government does not love us.
Well, I think I think a lot of people are figuring that out, and that they
Yes.
probably is one side of the bird wing is the same as the other side of the bird wing, and uh, and then people need to, and with that note, looking outside of ourselves for somebody to save us. That, oh, well, when this person gets elected, then everything's going to be okay. And then we go back to sticking our head in the sand, and we think we can still be making those same decisions that we made, and that this person over here is going to, make it all better. And that's not true.
No,
When
it's
you do that, you give up your sovereignty. And so, even though, Aquarius and Pluto in Aquarius is about service to humanity, it's also service to yourself. If you are
number
not
one.
doing what you need to be doing, service to humanity, maybe you are being of service to humanity.
Right.
I felt like I was a service to humanity by being a fitness instructor for 30 years. I finally put in my notice last week so that I'm not teaching those high energy classes anymore. I'm going to be teaching more slow things, more things that are going to help me feel better in my body. Because I found, I have Mars in Cancer. So we have a tendency to take on other people's stuff because we want to, not only be accepted, but maybe that's how we show our love. But it also comes at a price too, because it's like, well, look at me, I can do all these things and I'm your leader, but I'm a human being too. And
That's
so by not processing some of those emotions, the moon, the Cancer emotions, having the Mars in there, it's not fun. And if you don't process those emotions and you don't um, deal with the things when you should, they just kind of build up in disease.
yeah.
And so a lot of people that don't deal with their emotions like they should, they have illnesses in their bodies, whether it's maybe they have a throat issue, or maybe a digestive issue, or um, some other type of issue. And then we end up treating that instead of treating the real cause of it. So once you treat the real cause, then your body becomes a little bit more healthy. And this is why I love astrology so much, because back in the day, before we had Western medicine, doctors had to know what astrology was in order to treat a patient. If you didn't know what astrology was, then you didn't practice. Because how are you going to know how to treat that patient if they experience certain symptoms based upon having certain astrological things going on in their chart? Every zodiac controls a different body part. And even though you may not have Aquarius in your chart, what if you have a lot of planets in the 11th house? Or what if you have Aquarius in a prominent place in your chart? Therefore, you are going to have some Aquarian type issues. One of the things that I have found is I have to be more grounded. Being in front of the computer and in front of technology is not good for me. It's not good for my eyes. It's not good for my anxiety. So taking breaks from that and retreating in my home, Cancer home,
Yes.
has definitely helped me kind of calm my actions before making a reaction to something, and turning it into more of a response, because I had time, like you said, to slow down. Speaking of slow, I saw a turtle the other day on my walk,
Oh,
and I
wow.
don't know if you know this, but the turtle has 13 discs on its back
I've heard
to
that.
signal, I guess, the 13 sign in astrology. So the 13th sign is us, is the earth. We are the 13th sign, even
Yes.
though there's 12 astrological signs, but we're all the expression of that. That 13th sign is the whole wheel, in my opinion. So we're all traveling around on a turtle's back. So the turtle was telling me, go slow, speak astrology slow.
Yeah.
Astrology is what you're supposed to be doing, but let's take it slow. It doesn't have to do, you don't have to do it all in one night.
You can't. We're so vast. I mean, when I say it is so very vast, but at the same time, well worth um, studying. I mean, well worth studying. You talk about, you know, your Mars placement being in Cancer. My Mars placement is in Leo. And it is definitely in conjunct with Uranus. So when I say fast, this mind right here, when I say it be going, it be going.
Mm-hmm.
And but the beautiful thing of it, again, as you said, slowing down. And my biggest question to myself, or my inquiry, because I like that a pretty bit more, because earlier in childhood, when the authoritarian energy was through parents, teachers, preachers, or whatever, we were trained pretty much don't ask no questions.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's again how our throat chakra got subdued. And so now, you know, we can make inquiries, and those inquiries are absolutely beautiful. Even when I was walking the other day, there was just a download from the higher self that just began to tell me in regards of looking back. And it was like, Deborah, look at the many things that you have endured. And it was like,
Mm-hmm.
that shows you how strong you are. And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, oh my God, I am strong. And then from there, the picture got even wider. I began to look at women and how strong women are. I'm like, we are some powerful, strong beings with all the nurturing that we have to handle. And with Cancer, nurturing is very prominent. And so it's a part of the feminine energy that's showing up on the earth to be able to help balance the divine masculine. Well, let me say the masculine, because the divine doesn't need any balancing, it's already balanced. And so the ego is that thing that has shifted the masculine energy out of balance. And so as the divine is meeting with that masculine, as well as allowing that feminine energy to come in to bring some corrections to things, we're going to get better. And you talked about the number 13. The number 13 also is the representation of divine feminine. So, you know, this is a beautiful thing. And again, we were taught this stuff saying that 13 is unlucky and stuff. That definitely is not true. That was a ill intent so that we wouldn't go into the deeper things. But the
Mm-hmm.
universe is calling us into deeper things. When you think about Neptune, Neptune is water too. And all the water is healing energies as well. So there will be profound medical discoveries that are
Mm-hmm.
coming up as well. Because again, Jupiter being in a university skill into um, um, philosophical things, and it isn't beyond our reach to move into philosophical thinking so that we can break out of these shells. And I was talking about, and I didn't finish that part when I talked about the snake, the year of the snake. When you think about a snake shedding its skin, and based on the things that I've seen on Discovery channels or whatever, and
Mm-hmm.
when the snake has to come out of its old skin, and one of the commentators was like, that's not an easy task, because they have to slough up against, they have to rub up against rocks to take off of that old skin before that new skin takes on. And it's flexible. We have to, or we get
Mm-hmm.
to, we can choose flexibility, because nobody is making us do anything. We get to choose. The more we realize that we have the ability to choose. In the 3D, we don't have the right to choose. Somebody else, they took that from us. But moving into 5D, knowing that we have choice now, we can choose. And so therefore, our opportunities, our windows of opportunity are much bigger, and much more potential can come forth. Again, it is moving from the scarcity into the abundance
Mm-hmm.
thinking. that we will think abundant thought, and not just the money and stuff, and but including the money too. So because we
Yeah.
need it to operate. So many things are changing. And so when I look at the charts today, we've got a square between the mutable signs of Virgo. Then we've got Gemini and Pisces that are involved in it. And when you have a mutable square, that's like having two landlords. This person saying you got to pay the rent on time. It's almost like having a um, you know, those things that when you have a homeowners thing,
Mm-hmm.
homeowners association,
Mm-hmm.
you can't have your grass cut but this much, and you can't hang this in your window, you can't park that there. It's
Mm-hmm.
like that. It's very, because immutable is all about change. And so we have got to become, or we get to, or we choose to allow flexibility so that we won't wear
Yeah.
ourselves out in this great movement. Because now you have to also remember about Jupiter. Jupiter can be exaggeration. It can be fanaticism. So we'll see a lot of those things. It's like, what in the world is going on? What, you mean to tell me that happened? Yes. So it can be very fanaticism. It can be exaggerated. It can be lies. But on the other side of it, it is the Lord of plenty. It is the plan of expansion. And so we have to be mindful of those shadow sides. Are we
Mm-hmm.
eating too much? Are we not eating enough? All those things we do have to inquire and come into consideration so that we can come in as we're coming into the balance, because we are all sparks of God. We all
Mm-hmm.
are sparks of God.
So it's important to, if somebody does you wrong, the famous line that Jesus said is, Lord, please forgive them, for they know not what they do.
Absolutely.
And, you know, a lot of people, they say things that they don't mean because they're from an unhealed state.
Right.
And so I usually, or I'm getting better at sending love to those people, because I too have said things or done things, and when I wasn't in
Will
my best
do.
state either. And I want somebody to give grace to me, you know.
Definitely.
When you were talking about letting things go, some of the things around the home, um, you know, it's just old mindsets. Or why do I have to do this in order to be accepted in the home? You know, why can't I be an astrologer and earn a living wage doing that? No, that's not typical, and it's weird and unusual, but that's my gift. That's what I'm being called to do. And
Yes.
so, I just appreciate people like yourself who have been a pioneer and found astrology before I did, and saw how it could transform your life as well. And when you know how to um, work with some of these energies, life just gets a little bit more magical. Life doesn't
Yes,
have
it
to
does.
be always this hard. It just
Right.
doesn't. You know, and I'm not saying it's going to be perfect and I'm worshiping the planets or anything like that. I mean, who do you think that put the planets up there? We have one creator
Whew. When I
that
say
made
big
everything,
creator of
right? And
everything.
so we all come from the same space,
Yes.
the same place, which is divine source energy,
Yes.
which is love. So I'm not saying, you know, you got to take that thing back that hurt you, but you can forgive it and release it. It doesn't mean to reclaim it, because it's
Absolutely.
not yours to take.
Yep. Transmute it into a different energy and keep it moving.
Well, my friend, do you have anything else to share for our little podcast today on our first part series on this astrological transit? Just
Well,
checking in, just didn't know how this first month has treated you while the Jupiter was in your sign and your birthday. And I know the sun is in Leo right now,
it is.
but that's just exalting everything that we were talking about, I
Yes,
believe.
it is. Yes, it is. It really put the light on it because of the brilliance of it, and that's what I'm remembering. We're walking in our true brilliance. The light is real bright now, and so it's like you said, adding to it. So as I continue, and as you continue, and again, what a start The timing is so perfect. And, you were talking about the card that you read. I wrote it down somewhere. I wrote
It was this one.
something about the timelines. That's what it is, because that's Saturn energy. And at the same time, when we are moving into infinity time, that time that constricts and say you can't do this, you can't do that, we're moving into infinity. And so it's just so marvelous. And so when I looked at today's beginning, and I'm like, gosh, this is so powerful that we are reconnecting, because again, that is what all these retrogrades are about. Looking back. You have to look back, because those looking back, not for the pain of what happened, but for the lessons that want to speak to you. Those are the wisdoms, hindsight, the wisdoms that will show themselves. I'm like, oh gosh, I didn't look at it that way. And so this reconnection of this timing that we have come together lets me know that we are walking in the synchronicity of the spirit to be able to share this wonderful sign, Cancer, mothering, and then nurturing, and family, and real estate, and all. Is all that going to change? Yep, because it's a part of it. And property, looking at property, purchasing it while it's in Jupiter. So prices,
but not while Mercury's in retrograde.
Yeah, right. So you got a lot of things to consider. In other words, we've got some good options. So that's what I'm thankful for. And thank you for Nine Lives Energy asking me to be on at this time. I'm just really excited about it, and peace and blessings to your work and what you're doing. And thank you for what you do.
Oh, thank you. Well, folks, if you are interested in an astrological reading, you can reach out to me or Deborah Robinson. Our contact information is below. And thank you so much. And we will see you on part 2 for our Jupiter in Cancer transit with practitioner Deborah Robinson. Thanks so much. My name is Chrissy Smith. This is Nine Lives Energy, and together we energize your body from the inside out. Thanks so much. Come on. There we go.